Hi book besties, and welcome back to Hand Me the Book. In today's video I thought it would be fun to talk about my reading goals for this year in 2026 and also some books that I want to read this year. I usually pick about 10 books that I want to read, and I haven't been very good about actually reading those 10 books, but this year I think I'm going to commit to actually reading the 10 books. Unfortunately, I usually have set myself up to fail because I will pick the first book in a series. I don't think that I did a better job of doing that this year, of not picking a book that starts a series, but I think I picked books where you don't necessarily have to read the next book to understand the plot, like a romance that has a series, if that makes sense. So we'll see how it goes, but I really want to read these 10 books this year. I'm going to start first with my reading goals for the year. So I made a list of about 6 different goals that I want to try to achieve by the end of the year. Not really achievable goals in the sense that I can necessarily check them off. They're more like progress goals, which is more of what I prefer when I'm thinking about goals for myself, especially with reading, because reading is something that I enjoy and I don't want to put too many measurable achievements on it to the point where I don't enjoy doing it because I'm so focused on trying to meet the goal instead of enjoying the books that I'm reading. My first goal this year is to diversify my genres. Over 50% of the books that I read last year were romance, even though I love a good romance, and there was a lot going on in life last year, which is why I was more drawn to the light fluffy reads. I really do love to read fantasy, and I'm really enjoying the Red Rising series, so I want to continue to read more novels like that, especially if they are in a series. I really enjoy reading those books. A lot of those books make me really feel something and get very attached to the characters. My husband and I talk about this all the time. He's a movie person and I'm a TV show person, and in the same way, I feel like movie people can relate more to standalone novels, but because I'm a TV show person, I love to read series because I love to get attached to the characters. My second goal this year is to read 2 different classics. I did start reading a couple classics last year. I read a couple Jane Austen books. I listened to a few on audiobook, and there are some really nice versions that are almost like a dramatization of the book, and it really takes you into the story, and it's a really neat experience to listen to, so I highly recommend those if Jane Austen books feel a little bit harder to read or get into. They were very interesting and they had nice music in the background and sound effects, and it just kind of transported you into that part of England. I also read Fahrenheit 451, which if you watched my first video was in my top 10 for the year, and I never thought I would have a classic in my top 10, but I really enjoyed Fahrenheit 451. This year I want to try and read a couple more classics, and maybe I'll read another thing like a dystopian like Fahrenheit 451, but I also think I want to read more romance too, whether it's a Jane Austen or I have a nice copy of Little Women that was just gifted to me by my friend Chelsea. I really want to try to put more classics under my belt because they're not as intimidating as they seemed to be when I was in high school. The next goals are just kind of, again, like these progress goals, not necessarily something I can check off and say that I achieved. I want to scroll less and read more. I spent so much time scrolling on Instagram and TikTok last year, and I really just want to try to put my phone down more and be more disciplined so that I actually can get through my books, because it's not that I don't enjoy reading them, it's just that I get distracted. Maintain a reading journal. Last year I did this and I really enjoyed it. My setup was very low-key, low maintenance. It didn't require me to do a lot, and once the month was set up, I could kind of just record books. I didn't have like a bajillion spreads to keep up with. I made a couple new ones this year, but I still don't think that it will be super difficult to keep up with. And that's how I prefer my reading journals. I know other people really love to make these elaborate ones, but I feel like I have enough going on in my life. I don't need to add something that's gonna feel like a chore. And right now the way that I set up my reading journal is fun for me to complete, not hard. And so I want to continue maintaining a reading journal this year. I really want to read my Bible every day. So far so good. When I'm recording this, it's only like 3 or 4 days into the year, so we'll see. I hope that I can do it every day. I always feel better when I read my Bible every day, but I really want to commit to reading it every single day this year I kind of let it slide by the end of last year. I really don't like when I do that. So that's a goal for me this year. I'm gonna try to read my Bible every single day. My last goal is to post at least one new booktube video every single month. Okay, and now we're gonna get into the 10 books that I want to read in 2026. So I kind of grouped these by category, so just by the genre that they kind of fall under. And I'm gonna start with general fiction books. The first book that I want to read this year is called The Future Saints by Ashley Winstead. It comes out later this month in January. As far as I'm aware, this story is about a band who lost their manager very tragically, so there's large themes of grief, but I think there's also a romance involved. The description on Goodreads was talking about if you like Daisy Jones and the Six, you should read it. I get really nervous about reading books about musicians and about music because I'm a musician and I'm a music teacher, and sometimes I feel like authors try way too hard to describe music, and there are just not many good ways or good ways that I've seen that music is described. I did really enjoy the way that Daisy Jones was written. I liked the format of it and how it was told through the different mediums of interviews, but I just haven't read many books that tell the story with music in a way that I enjoy. So I'm hopeful that this one will be good because it sounds really good and it has pretty good rating on Goodreads. So we will see when it comes out later this month. I will be getting a copy of it. I pre-ordered it and I'm really excited to read that one. The next book that I want to read is a literary fiction book, and typically I'm not a huge fan of literary fiction. I really did enjoy Remarkably Bright Creatures last year, which is technically a literary fiction book. I enjoy literary fiction that has more of a plot. I feel like a lot of the time literary fiction focuses more on character development, and to me I just find those stories kind of boring. I know there's some people's jam, and some people love to see that and love to see the characters develop over time. I like to see that, but I like to see that with a plot. Typically literary fiction is not, I don't know, it's just not for me. I don't enjoy having morally gray characters that make decisions that I don't really agree with, so it's been hard for me to like literary fiction in the past. This book is called The Bright Years by Sarah Damoff. It has a 4.23 rating on Goodreads. I know it's been around for a while. One family, 4 generations, a secret son, a devastating addiction. The Texas family is met with losses and surprises of inheritance, but they're unable to shake the pull back toward each other in this big-hearted family saga, perfect for readers of Mary Beth Keane and Claire Lombardo. Ryan and Lillian Bright are deeply in love, recently married, and now parents to a baby girl, Georgette. But Lillian has a son she hasn't told Ryan about, and Ryan has an alcohol addiction he hasn't told Lillian about, so Georgette comes of age watching their marriage rise and fall. When a shocking blow scatters their fragile trio, Georgette tries to distance herself from reminders of her parents. Years later, Lillian's son comes searching for his birth family, so Georgette must return to her roots, unearth her family's history, and decide whether she can open up to love for them or herself while there's still time. It says it's told from 3 different points of view. It just sounds like a really interesting book. Again, typically I don't like literary fiction, but that sounds like a really good literary fiction where there's a lot of different components, and even though some of the decisions are morally gray or not great, I look forward to reading it because the plot sounds really interesting. The last general fiction or literary fiction book that I want to read next year is Animal Farm. And Animal Farm is written by George Orwell, who wrote 1984, which is one of my favorite classics that I've read. Again, I haven't read a lot of classics, but I do really enjoy that one. And I love that it was so futuristic and kind of predicted the future in a way. So I'm eager to read Animal Farm by this same author. The premise of Animal Farm is that there are these animals, obviously, on a farm that are being abused, and they decide to take over the farm. And so now the animals are in charge, and it's the consequences of basically abused animals taking over the farm and what that looks like and the consequences that it has for the people who live and work there. So it sounds like a really interesting book, and I can't wait to read that one. Next up, I have a historical fiction book that I want to read in the new year. This is called D-Day Girls, and I believe it takes place in Europe. Yep, it takes place in England on the front lines. It's about women who served in the Special Operations Executive, or the SOE. They were basically spies, and they were trained in a lot of different jobs to help with war efforts, and especially to gain information for the war efforts, and I think it's based on a true story, so these are actually based on real women's lives who did these jobs during World War II. I love reading World War II fiction because there's just so much about it, and you just learn something new each time you read a World War II book, which I appreciate because there are so many different facets of the war. I haven't read too many World War II books that were set in England, but I also haven't read many books that talk about the spy efforts by women. World War II was really the turning point for women being involved in different aspects of society and doing what were previously known as men's jobs. I'm excited to read about this and experience this almost firsthand to understand more about the turning point for women in society and in culture through the eyes of these women who created that turning point. The next category is romance, kind of, and you'll see what I mean when I show you the books. First one is Magnolia Parks. I've had this on my list for many years because there are so many people that say they love this book. I know that the relationship in this book is somewhat toxic from what I've read, but it still sounds pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of books with a lot of spice. I can't really tell from reviews if this has a lot of spice, so we're just gonna try it and see if I like it. If I do, I'll give the next book a shot. If I don't, I might still give the next book a shot because, like I said, I know a lot of people have said that this is a really toxic relationship, and so I may not love this book, but a lot of people who don't like this book do like the next couple books, but we'll see what the spice content level is. I don't want to skip around a lot of the book because I don't like the spice and then miss something, so we'll see. We'll see if I end up liking this or if it's too spicy or if I don't like the writing, because I know Jessa Hastings has very specific writing from what I've heard. I hope I like it. The next romance-ish book that I have on my list is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is a heavy book. Like, it's paperback and it's floppy, but it's heavy. Again, I know that these have a little bit of toxic relationships in them. There's a lot of darker themes. Not darker themes, I shouldn't say dark. I've read that there's a lot of trigger warnings and that you should read the content if you're sensitive to particular things, because I know these, I think they're teenagers. Well, it says college, so maybe they're not teenagers. These young adults go through a lot and have experienced a lot of trauma, so if that's something that bothers you in books, definitely read the trigger warnings before pick this one up. Again, don't know the spice content level, and it's hard to tell from reviews what the spice content level is because I feel like everybody just talks about the characters, how much they really enjoy these books and enjoy Chloe Walsh's writing, so this is another one where I am hoping that I like it, and if I do, I'll pick up more of the books and try to read more of the series. But if not, that's okay. Not every book is for every person, and that's okay. So if this doesn't fit my reading taste, it's okay, but I am excited to read it in 2026. Next category of books is fantasy, and this is my last category of the 10 books that I want to read. The first book is called Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I've had this on my shelf for probably a year now. It sounds so good. It is a YA fantasy series. So it says, in a mortal world colonized by the gods and ruled over by the Descended, their cruel, magic-wielding offspring, DM, I hope I say that right. DM Bellator yearns to escape the insular life of her poor village. Her mother's sudden disappearance and the discovery of a dangerous secret about her past offer DM an unexpected opportunity to enter the dark world of Descended royalty and unlock the web of mysteries her mother left behind. With the dying king's handsome, enigmatic heir watching her every move and a ruthless rebel alliance recruiting her to join the growing civil war, Diem will have to navigate the unwritten rules of love, power, and politics in order to save her family and all of mortal kind. I really enjoy books that have like a human, they have mortals, and then they also have like immortal beings. So I think I'm really going to enjoy this series, especially because it's a YA fantasy, which means there's probably not a lot of spice in it. At least I hope not. This sounds like such a good series, and again, I love books that have the mortal and the immortal in them. That's why I loved Divine Rivals so much. It's one of my favorite books, and this sounds right up that alley. The next book that I want to read is Lightlark by Alex Astor. Again, this has been on my TBR for over a year. It's a book that I've wanted to read for more than a year because I've seen everybody talk about this. From what I know about Lightlark, this is about an island called Lightlark. Every 100 years, this island Lightlark appears, and they have, I think, 100 days to host this game. It kind of reminds me of Caraval in that it only appears every once in a while, and then it goes away, and you only have so much time to complete the game. Anything with a game in it, in a fantasy book, I typically will like. And I've heard that this is a very fast-paced read. I did read Alex Astor's romance book and I really didn't like it, so I'm hopeful that her fantasy series will be better because I've seen a lot of better reviews for this than I did with Summer in the City. Romance is a totally different genre. Not that authors can't do multiple genres, but I just did not enjoy that book, and I'm hoping that I will enjoy this book more. And finally, the last book that I want to read in 2026 is The Will of the Many, and this baby is thick. I have seen so many great reviews about this book. My husband actually wants to read this book. It's also the start of a series. Like I said, I don't think I did a very good job of not picking books that weren't the start of a series to be on my 10 books in 2026, but at least this is just a duology, even though they're both really thick. But I've seen so many great reviews for this book in the last couple months especially. It seemed to really come to the forefront in December when the second, well actually I don't think the second book came out in December, but it came out towards the end of 2025, and I saw a lot of people raving about both this book and the second book, and I'm very eager to see what all the fuss is about and see if I like it. So this is the last book that's on my 10 in 2026 TBR, and that's good because that's a lot of books to read. I hope you enjoyed today's video talking about my reading goals and the 10 books that I want to read in 2026. If any of the books that I mentioned are on your reading list for 2026, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you're excited to read this year. I only included one new release on the list for 2026, but there are other books that I have my eye on, and maybe I'll make a video of all the new releases that I'm hoping to read this year. But The Future Saints comes out pretty early in the year, which is why I included it, because some of the new releases I might just not get to before the end of the year. Those are the 10 books that I want to read this year, and those are my reading goals for the year. I hope that you have an awesome week, and I will hopefully see you next Friday. Bye!